What's going on, everybody? It's your favorite dating coach, Elliot Scott, and as you can see by the title below, we're going to talk about how long you should actually pull away. Now, if you haven't yet, please subscribe. Just click the red button below. I love you forever. Also, if you want to get a phone session with yours truly, especially if it's something like this, like the guy's pulling away, because this is what a lot of my sessions are actually about. Like the guy pulling away, are you trying to regain power, or you pulling away and seeing if it's working and all that kind of stuff, then the link's below in the description, right, to get a session with me. Also, my free 200-page ebook along with my other guides about that stuff. Okay, so how long should you actually pull away? Now, if we had a session, it'd be a 30-minute session where I can go into really, really deep detail on why, how, when, who, what, where, all that kind of stuff, okay? And trust me, we go into a lot of detail. But to scratch like 5% of the surface here, obviously it depends on what you're trying to convey and what situation. I have hair sticking up back here because I woke up, but and what situation is at hand, right? So for example, if you're trying to pull away to get a certain result, you might pull away a week. If he's not showing any interest at all and you're just like, whatever, I'm done with that, it's kind of bullshit, I'm going to pull away myself to see if he comes back around. I always tell women, if you're pulling away for this reason, then you need to be pulling away as if you will never hear from the guy again. So that usually will last about 30 days. I mean, it just depends on what you're trying to get. If it's a breakup or something, I'd pull away for about 2 weeks to 3 weeks, something like that. I rarely recommend a month because I don't think anything happens within that month. Because here's the thing: could the guy miss you? Absolutely, but I wouldn't even say that's you pulling away. Then, if you're pulling away for a month, you need to be pulling away for the reason of, I'm going to move on. If he comes back, great. But if he doesn't, I'm doing my own thing. And you need to have that mindset. You don't worry about the outcome. Just go do your thing. If he comes back, he comes back. But don't hold your breath. Now, if he's starting to play the games with you and he's starting to pull, well, actually, I want to say something. A lot of girls do not believe me when I say this. A lot of guys don't initially play games with girls. Like when we're pulling away from you, there's a reason we're doing it, right? Uninterested, just ain't thinking about it. You ain't a top priority. Got bored. Just not as interested. But a guy rarely pulls away because he's thinking, I'm gonna test her, right? Like that's a good way to put it. A guy doesn't really pull away to test you, to see your red flags. Guys know for the most part whether you're worth dating. And they see, your pros and cons and all that within a first date. Guys are very, very, very good at scanning. Just like a woman has a great intuition, which you need to follow, by the way. Guys are really, really good at scanning a woman and knowing the pros and cons of this and that, what they need to watch out for, right? That's why they're called red flags. Red flags are things that guys see. They're like warning, like evolutionary warning signs, right? The red flags are like, what makes something a red flag is if it's threatening his evolutionary obligation, right? So if a woman's clingy, the guy's suppressed. He has no freedom. He can't roam. Now, I don't mean that roaming and looking around for, other women, but just from an evolutionary perspective, guys are supposed to break away from their mothers and start a thing, right? So if you're showing signs of him not being able to do that, then he ain't going anywhere, right? So guys are like the brain is consciously and subconsciously scanning for those kind of things. So don't think guys are trying to initially test you to just be testing you. They already know, which is a very good gift to us, thankfully. But again, I think a woman's intuition and gut feeling is just as accurate. But the problem a lot of you women have is you follow your heart instead, right? Your heart. You don't listen to this. You don't listen to your gut. You follow your heart. And while that can be great sometimes, I think you learn a lot more, which is another reason why I think women mature a lot faster than men. You just go with, you learn through, you build character. You learn through trial and error. And again, that's why you mature a lot faster than us. But guys are just really, really good at that kind of thing. So if he's, again, in the beginning, I think you should only be pulling away to create a scarcity kind of environment to let him know I want you, but I don't need you. I'm not waiting around, kind of thing. Again, when we have access to something too much, we take it for granted. Just look at everything around you. People will leave their lights on like I do. People will leave their TV. Like all these kind of things. But that's because I've never lived life without light or electricity. I've been very fortunate, so I take it for granted. There's people who leave the faucet on when they're brushing their teeth. Well, that's because you never lived without water. This is the same thing. When a guy over time starts hanging out with you and seeing you all the time, whenever he calls you, come over. And I'm not saying that's a bad thing if you want to go over. You just gotta, it's always about atmosphere, context, and attitude. If you do it correctly, a guy's not going to need to, again, test you, even though that's not what they do. Everything just falls in place naturally. So don't think a guy is pulling away initially, right? You only, in the beginning, if you are pulling away, it only needs to be to create some type of scarce atmosphere, that you're an independent woman doing her own thing, that you like him in your life, but you're not like, orbiting around him, right? You're waiting for him. It's not the center of your world, and things like that. So I really don't think women need, again, like I said in my last video, which you really need to watch, I'll probably link it at the very end. A lot of women, when they do pull away, you pull away at the wrong time, right? You need to pull away when the attraction is going up and he's starting to get a big investment in you. But at the same time, women are like, whoa, it's just like investing. When it keeps on going up, you're going to want to throw money in. And then when it goes down, that's when you buy and you take out the money. But what you don't realize is you're actually losing money because you're pulling out when the stock is going down. This is the exact same thing. You need to do good. His attraction is going up. That's when you need to pull away, when it's at its climax, at its best. But a lot of women, don't. It's when it's declining. The girl's like, oh well, this is a sign I need to pull away, and it's too late, because when you're pulling away when he's not interested in you, it's just inconvenience, right? Or it's just convenience. Sorry for him. So I wouldn't say really there is a certain time to pull away. I think it depends on circumstances. I don't ever think of something as pulling away. I think it is push and pull, which again I explained in my texting and value guide. But you just need to know how to create a dynamic, know how to give them something, give them a little bit of hope, just like guys do. Give you that little bit of hope, and then he's like, I don't know yet, not yet. Guys do that shit all the time. That's why guys are really good at hooking women. But with that being said, ladies, I love you. Again, if you haven't yet, please subscribe. Just click the red button below. I'll love you forever and ever and ever and ever. Okay, so peace.